Inertial force is the force by which a moving object attempts to continue to move. Friction force acts in the opposite direction of motion, so works to slow down a moving object. A brake is an important device that decreases inertial force by means of friction force. On a motorcycle, the front and rear brakes are operated separately. Let's think about that. When the brakes are applied, the motorcycle's wheels will try to stop, but the rider and chassis will attempt to continue moving forward due to inertial force. This exerts a large load on the front tire. The load exerted on the front wheel increases the friction force between the tire and the ground. This means the force working to stop the front wheel also increases. Conversely, the load on the rear wheel decreases, reducing the friction force on the tire and making it impossible to deliver a strong braking force using the rear brake. Let's see an experiment showing skillful braking, something which greatly affects safe driving. The rider applies only the rear brake with force. The wheel stops moving, but the motorcycle continues to move. This is called wheel lock. With wheel lock, it looks as if sudden braking has occurred, but in actual fact, wheel lock does not produce the maximum possible braking force. Once again, let's see the rider start to brake from the same point, using only the rear brake as before. The motorcycle stopped in a shorter distance. What was different from the previous test? In the first test, the tires slid during wheel lock, but this time the bike stopped while the wheel was still turning. Braking with sufficient force to bring the motorcycle to a stop without wheel lock occurring is a key skill of brake operation. Now let's see how effective applying both brakes at the same time is. First, the motorcycle will be brought to a stop using only the rear brake. Second, only the front brake is applied. Now, we apply both brakes. How's that? As you can see, there are great differences in stopping distance even from the same speed. Remember, in wet conditions, you should not apply the brakes with as much force because of the lower available friction force. There are a variety of road surfaces, and these change constantly. So too does the friction force. Take care to ride your motorcycle safely, using both brakes appropriately, and while keeping in mind that friction force changes depending on the road.